Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha Kodash, and double honor to my teachers, the head apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule and teach well, who I learned this truth from, and peace and salutations to the elect that scattered across the four corners of the planet Earth, pushing this truth and sincerity and meekness without wavering, as well as risking their life for freedom to do so. This is your brother ICR from the GMS Cleveland Church, and I'm back with another lesson. And Lord willing, it is edifying to one of the Lord's elect. All right. And as you see, this video is going to be focused on news and prophecy, as the beloved elder down in Dallas does. Damn, man, Salaki, I forget the elder name, Yashawamba. You know, he does videos on news and prophecy, so this is what this lesson is going to be about, because this had grabbed my eye. Okay, it says the end of NATO. Now, if you know the history of NATO, okay, it consists of European nations as well as one nation known as Turkey as well, okay, which is not a European nation, but they are joined with them, okay. But nevertheless, okay, it says, and also NATO is allies with America as well as some EU nations as well. Okay, but it says the end of NATO, which NATO stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Okay, so we're going to get into it because according to biblical prophecy, these nations, okay, specifically the NATO, is going to turn on the United States of America as well as the EU too. Okay, but I'm focusing on NATO right now. Okay, and also NATO is mentioned in the Holy Scriptures, okay, in the book of Daniel, the 2nd chapter, talking about the feet mixed with miry clay and iron, the 10 toes. It's talking about the NATO and the EU, man. All right, so let's get into it. All right, the end of NATO, and this was released today, January 6, 2026. Okay, the year of apostasies, sellouts, and agents, as the beloved Apostle Tahar coined weeks before the so-called New Year came in. But it says the Monroe Doctrine, proclaimed by U.S. President James Monroe in 1823, asserted American influence in the Western Hemisphere at a time when newly independent South American nations were emerging from European colonial rule. So that's when these nations, specifically the South American nations, which those South American nations were Israelites that were colonized by Europe, okay, they began to emerge from their rule, okay. It says, while the doctrine as a tool of policy warns Europe to keep its hands off, it stopped short of declaring that the United States will act as a nanny for these fledgling states, right? So America believes it's the nanny of the whole entire planet Earth. America has its nose in everybody's business, man. That's why the scriptures say he is neither keeper at home in the book of Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. Okay, the United States of America, okay, they believe these people, okay, these Babylonian civilians, these specifically the Edomites and those that's in those government buildings, they really believe that, you know, what they're doing, okay, is you know, is you know, they're supposed to rule, okay, and they are supposed to rule, okay. The Lord set them up, all right. But it says Don's interpretation when it's talking about Donald Trump, okay. Don's interpretation of the doctrine, which he coined it the Don Road Doctrine, okay, you can look that up. Don's interpretation of the doctrine, however, seems a bit different, though not entirely unique. Indeed, digging a massive trench to split a country in two is a rather explicit form of U.S. intervention, though the recent operation in Venezuela marks the first time we've seen something like this from Washington since the Bush administration. George H., not W. H. was the first Bush in the 90s. It says, and the current administration's rhetoric surrounding the operation certainly sets it apart, right? Because if you look up the Monroe Doctrine, it pretty much, it pretty much gives the United States the green light to control whatever is over in the Western Hemisphere. Okay, and those other countries that have politics and businesses over here in the Western Hemisphere, America is set against it. Okay, so this is also this the shit that Trump did is going to tear apart his alliances with the NATO and the EU, man. All right, so we're going to keep reading. It says, Secretary of State Marco Rubio clarified, there's not a war. There's a war against drug trafficking organizations, not a war against Venezuela. But you took down a president. Why didn't you take down the cartel leaders? See, this is the slick words and the frower words that these devils use, man. Okay. It says some might argue that a war is still a war regardless of how the opposition is defined. But Rubio would disagree. He also made the core intentions of the U.S. clear. This is the Western Hemisphere. This is where we live, and we're not going to allow the Western Hemisphere to be a base of operation for adversaries, competitors, and rivals of the United States, man. So like I said, that's what the Monroe and the Monroe Doctrine was all about. It's about protecting the Western Hemisphere from foreign competitors, adversaries, and rivals. Okay, because if you know what's going on with Venezuela, the oil in that land, they pretty much, were selling it and using it. Okay, they had connections. I'm gonna just say they had connections with China, Russia, and also Iran, if I'm not mistaken, man. So America didn't like that. So they went down there and pretty much took over the land, okay? Because they seen that a country on the same side of the world as them is supporting America's enemies, man. Okay, and they don't like that, okay? See, America is known as the hammer of the earth. It tells you that in the book of Jeremiah 50, okay? I believe 23, okay? America, and he also said that in the meeting, okay, in the press conference. Trump said we are the hammer, man, okay? Meaning they're going to beat these nations into submission and subjection, man, and that's what they do, okay? Just look how America was established, man. It was established by blood and war, okay? And that's the same way it's going to go out, man. The scripture say you reap what you sow. It says, as for Maduro, which was the president of Venezuela, the situation appears straightforward. He is expected to be convicted by the Southern District of New York on at least one of the charges levied against him and will likely spend the rest of his life in prison. Maduro, however, has asserted that he is not guilty of narco-terrorism, proclaiming, I am innocent, I am not guilty, I am a decent man. On Monday, Vice President Delcy Rodriguez was sworn in as acting president following Trump's weekend comments to The Atlantic. If Rodriguez doesn't do what's right, she is going to pay a very big price, probably bigger than Maduro. See, this is the hammer of the earth, man. Okay? See, he's not letting up. I'm speaking of Donald Trump, okay, which we believe, okay, is Emperor Nero coming back in the reincarnation, because reincarnation is biblical, okay? And if you know the history of Nero, he was a fucking madman, okay? He whatever he wanted, he got it. He got it by a bloodshed and deception, man. It says Rodriguez's tone was shifted dramatically since the weekend. initially condemning Maduro's arrest as barbaric, and it was barbaric, man. Okay, meaning fucking uncivilized, because that's what the Edomite is, the so-called white race. They're barbaric, man. Okay, they got something known as the wild man. Okay, and so-called the Dark Ages. Okay, when Jake, the so-called Negro, was ruling Europe, they were warned with the wild man, the beast man. Okay, the barbaric. Okay, which barbaric? Let's look that up. All right, barbaric. It says savagely cruel, exceedingly brutal, primitive, unsophisticated, cruel, uncivilized, man. And that's the so-called white man to a T. Okay, what they did, okay, was it was uncivilized. It was barbaric, man. Okay, this wasn't a way to go about dealing with no, this wasn't a way about how you come to a solution to a problem. Okay, this is pretty much him saying comply or die, get down or lay down. Okay, and that's the spirit that the so-called white man has, and that's what the Lord is going to put he's going to increase that spirit of the so-called white man more and more till Yahushua comes back, man, who is our Lord and Savior, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. It says, initially condemning Maduro's arrest as barbaric, she now extends an olive branch to Washington, stating, we invite the U.S. government to work together on a cooperative agenda focused on shared development within the framework of international law and to strengthen lasting community coexisting right. Because international law, America just pretty much skipped over that. They even skipped over congressional approval, man. All right, let me get a precept. All right. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50. And I'm going to start at, I'm going to go to Isaiah 10, okay? Because Esau believes that this is he's doing his own will. But that's not true. You're doing what Yahweh Bashim Yahushua programmed you to do, okay? This is the book of Isaiah chapter 10. And I'm going to start at 15. Well, I'm going to start at 13. And this is dealing with the Assyrians. So as you see, Assyria is God's instrument. So when Isaiah was on the scene, the Lord sent the Assyrians, okay, to come against the nation of Israel, man. Okay. And it took down the northern kingdom, the 10 tribes. But it wasn't able to take the southern kingdom, man. But nevertheless, the Lord used them and say the Assyrian is God's instrument. Because what? The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Proverbs, I believe, the 21st chapter and the first verse, man. See, the Lord is in control of all these presidents and rulers of these countries, man. It's not mortal man that's in control. But this is the book of Isaiah chapter 10, because the Assyrians got proud when they took down the southern kingdom, man. Okay. So this is the book of Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 12. It says, wherefore it shall come to pass that when the Lord hath performed his whole work upon Mount Zion and on Jerusalem, I will punish the fruit of the stout heart of the king of Assyria and the glory of his high looks. Right, and that was fulfilled. Okay. Verse 13, for he saith, and this was the spirit of the Assyrians at the time. Okay, for he saith, by the strength of my hand I have done it. Done what? Took down the nation of Israel. And this is the same spirit that Trump is in. It says, by the strength of my hand have I done it, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent, and I have removed the bounds of the people, and have robbed their treasures, and have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man. Right. So this is what happened to our people. Okay, to our people back in the ancient times, man. Okay, Esau, Edom removed the bounds of the people, meaning what? He took the 10 tribes, not Esau, Edom, but the Assyrians took the northern kingdom okay, into captivity, man, and plundered the land. Okay, similar to what Trump is doing today. Okay, he's plundering the land. He's robbing the treasures. Okay, of Venezuela, which is the oil. Okay, it says in verse 14, "And my hand have found as a nest the riches of the people, and as one gathereth eggs that are left, have I gathered all the earth, and there was none that moved the wing or opened the mouth or peeped," man. And that's that's the spirit that Trump is in, man. He is the Assyrian. America, the United States of America, is the Assyrian today. Okay. See, this is what the Lord. This is what the Lord has this country. Okay, especially the wicked elites. Okay, because they're the ones controlling. They're the ones controlling these puppet leaders, man. Okay, the Lord has them He has them in a trick bag, man. Okay, little do they know, all they're doing is ushering in the kingdom of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah. So let's go back to this article. It says, but Venezuela's future is still uncertain. There has been a whirlwind of headlines questioning how much control the U.S. will take over Venezuela's energy infrastructure, or if they will ultimately end up taking control at all. It says Trump has thus made his position clear that he wants to be very strongly involved in the Venezuelan oil industry, man. It says, as noted by senior energy strategist Joe DeLauro, a vast amount of capital investment will be needed to get Venezuela back up to its previous production levels. The minimum time frame for getting output back to where it once was would be 5 to 10 years and billions of dollars, and we don't have that much time left, man. Okay, but this is them believing that they're gonna rule forever. 5 to 10 years. This is a proud statement, man. Okay, and we know pride. What is it? Pride coming for destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall, man. And Esau is about to have a hell of a fall, man. Okay. It says Venezuela's government is in flux as well. Will Maduro's government, headed by Rodriguez, stay in place, or is she on borrowed time? Rodriguez's recent modification may have bought her a few more months, or perhaps that cushy apartment in Qatar that Maduro turned down. But the question remains, will we see true regime change in Venezuela after all? So this is the part that I want to focus on right here. All right. Just had to get the context, okay? But this is dealing with the NATO, all right? So let's see what this says, okay? Because what America's doing is it's forcing its allies, it's putting its allies' back against the walls, because Europe is closer to Russia, okay? It is very close to Russia, and Russia eventually will make its move on Europe because of the actions of the United States of America, okay? So it says, historically, the Monroe Doctrine applied to Central and South America, but its geographic boundaries were never explicitly defined. The Trump administration, however, may be getting creative with borders, suggesting the doctrine could soon extend to Greenland, which is still technically in the Western Hemisphere, okay? So let's keep reading. This is where it gets good. Greenland first surfaced as a talking point during Trump's campaign. This has reemerged over the weekend, with Trump announcing that the U.S. needs Greenland from a national security situation, and that we will deal with Greenland in about 2 months. Let's talk about Greenland in 20 days. What exactly we'll be talking about when it comes to Greenland is not yet clear, but Denmark and the EU is taking this as a threat, right? Denmark and the EU, man. Okay, the EU is the 10 horns, the NATO is the 7 heads, man. Okay. So Denmark, okay, and the EU is taking this as a threat. So as a friend, okay, let's put it in the layman terms. America and the EU and NATO are friends, right? You see a friend pretty much eyeing, coveting what's yours, okay, and he's making a move on it. okay, you will feel like that's a threat. Like, why are you eyeing my shit, man? Okay, what do you want to do with my property, man? Okay, you have your own property. You got enough. What do you need my shit for? That's a threat. Okay, in America, he said we will deal with it in about 2 months, man. See, this is the Lord is putting the spirit on these American Edomites to for their nation to come to an end, man. Their rulership to come to an end. Because once America is destroyed, all Edomite dominion is over with, man. All right, for the simple reason that they're proud, man. Okay, it says Danish Prime Minister Matt Frederiksen has said that if the U.S. chooses to attack another NATO country militarily, then everything stops, including NATO, and thus the security that has been established since the end of the Second World War, right? Because NATO was formed after the Second World War, okay, to combat Russia, okay? It says Greenland's, so if the U.S. goes along with this, their allies are going to switch up on them, man, okay? And there will be no American allies, okay? So you American Edomites, man, your time is up, man. Okay, your time is up. Hey, man, let's grab this real quick, all right? Because if you go all on the internet, these American Edomites are super proud of what, Trump is doing, man. But little do they know, this is the beginning of your end, man, all right? This is the book of Lamentations 4:21. It says, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. Uz is America. Okay. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. What cup? The curses, the judgments of Yahweh Ba'ashmi Yahushua. Thou shalt be drunken, and thou shalt make thyself naked. Right. You're being exposed, man. Okay. The American Edomite is being exposed. Verse 22, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins, man. Right. And the Lord is doing that now. So rejoice and live it up, man. Your allies are about to change on you. Okay, they're about to turn on you. It says Greenland's prime minister has some strong words for the Trump administration, but seemed open to negotiations. No more pressure, he said. No more fantasies of annexation. We are open to dialogue. We are open to discussions, but this must happen through proper channels and with respect for international law. See, the same thing that America is doing. Well, America had a problem with Russia doing what they did, annexing Crimea, Donetsk, okay, if I'm not mistaken, Donetsk and Ukraine, okay, and this is the same thing that Russia is doing, the United States of America is doing. America is a hypocritical nation, man. Okay, now in Isaiah 10 talks about a hypocritical nation. That's talking about the nation of Israel, man. Okay, but Esau also is hypocritical, man. These Edomites here, okay, they're very contradictory, man. Okay, what other countries do, they condemn it, but when America does it, they justify it, man. And that's called confusion. And this is why this is why America is known as Babylon the Great. He's going to take this place out, man. All right. It says, while an outright U.S. military takeover seems unlikely, diplomatic maneuvering is another matter. Trump's approach to statecraft has been described as too much stick, not enough carrot. In the case of Greenland, we may see a bit more carrot. Still, with the population of only around 50,000, one might imagine a thought experiment where, for the low price of $50 billion, the U.S. offers every Greenlander $1 million in exchange for their country. That might prove more attractive, man. Right. So they think they could just buy them people out of their land, man. All right. And I want to focus on the NATO saying there will be no more alliances, man. All right. So let's get this and I'm going to close out. This is the book of Revelation 17:15. He said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, right, where the horse sitteth, right, talking about America, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues, right? Okay, that's dealing with the various nationalities of people that's here in the United States. Okay. It says, verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, the 10 horns represent the EU. The beast represents NATO. These shall hate the whore. The whore is who? The United States of America. And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So that's what's going to happen to the United States of America. Okay, they're bringing upon them their own demise. Okay, how can you just betray your allies, man? Okay, betrayal is one of the worst feelings, man. When a woman betrays you by sleeping with another man, what's the judgment for that? They get put to death, man. Okay, they get stoned to death, man. Okay, so the same feeling of betrayal that these countries, these NATO and the EU is gonna feel, they're gonna want blood, man. Okay, because you deceived them, you lied to them, you led them astray, you had them under a strong spell, man. You had them under a strong sense of witchcraft, man. Okay, it's verse 17. For the Most High have put in their hearts to fulfill his will, the heart meaning the mind. So the Lord is going to put in the minds of the NATO and the EU to fulfill his will. What's his will? To destroy the United States of America, man. And to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast. Okay, right. And they're to agree, right? And give their kingdom unto the beast. The beast is who? The United States of America. Okay. And until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled, man. Right. So, for the Most High have put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled, man. Right. So, United States of America, your demise is near, man. We want to see you go against your own allies, man. All right. That just makes you weaker. All right. So, I'm going to close out. Lord willing, this is edifying to one of the Lord's elect. I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rechak, Quadash, and double honor to my teachers, the head apostles, and elders of Great Millstone, who rule and teach well, and peace and salutations to the elect. Kwang Yashar Shalom, Wa Abad Babal.